Hello everyone, welcome to our 19th video in the Python for Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning series. My name is Dheeraj Choudhary and today we will explore working with dates and times in Python, which is essential for many data analysis and machine learning tasks that we will come through. Time-based features and analysis are common in predictive modeling and understanding how to manipulate dates and times efficiently, which is going to be valuable in our data science and machine learning journey going ahead. So let's start with the introduction of date and time in Python. So working with date and time is a fundamental skill in programming, especially in data analysis and machine learning, where temporal patterns are often significant. In many data sets, the timing of event can be a powerful predictor. So think of example like think of sales pattern around holidays, traffic patterns by time of day, or seasonal variation in health matrices. So Python provides several modules for working with dates and times, with datetime module being the most commonly used for high-level operations that we are going to learn in today's tutorial. The time module offers more low-level functions, and calendar module provides calendar-related utilities. In machine learning workflows, you will use these tools for various tasks like creating time-based features like day of week or hour of week, uh, filtering date by specific time periods, measuring duration between events, and many more. So let's understand all these essential applications with fewer example going ahead. But just to have a glimpse of how date and time works in Python by using the basic modules of date and time, we will see three examples in which you will get a gist of how exactly we work with date and time module. So first over here, in the first example, we will learn how to get today's date. So for this, what we're going to do is we do this by importing the date class from date and time. So date and time is by default installed as part of Python installation. So from date and time, I am using date. Date module, and then from date, I am saying date dot today. It is going to give me the date of today, that is 7th of July 2025. So that is how easy it is for you to use the inbuilt library of date and get today's date. Then in the second example, we will see how to get day of the week. What is the current day? So days of the weeks are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it starts from 0 to 6. 0 is going to be Monday and 6 is going to be Sunday. So that is how we are going to calculate that 7 days of week. So so over here, what I'm doing, so previously I imported date from date and time. This time I have imported a date and time itself. So over here, I go ahead and say date and time dot now. So when I go ahead and run this, so first it is going to get the date and time object into now. Once we get that object into now from that object, we are going to only read specific weekday. So when we go ahead and read the weekday from that object, which has been written by date and time, so we are getting 0, which is known as Monday. So over here, it is 0. Today is Monday. If you run it tomorrow, it will be 1. So likewise, it will change accordingly. Now, third, we are again using date, but this time what we are doing is we are trying to find out the difference between the date. So you can also perform arithmetic operations by using date and time module, where you can subtract from one date from another date and get the days between that, or get the time. So these kinds of differences can also be found by using this date and time. So right now over here, I said 1st of July 2025 is my start date, 7th of July 2025 is my end date. Then I subtracted both of them and I got a difference of 6. That is how you can use the date module over here. Now you might be wondering that over here, I have gone ahead and just given the string, right? 25, 7, 1. So this is how you define the year, month, and day over here. So right now when I say date 2025, 7, and 1, so these are the three arguments that I'm passing. And then once you pass this three argument, what it is going to go ahead and do is it is going to return an object, which is going to be a date object. So if I go ahead and print the type of object it is returning, let's see what kind of object it returns. So if I go ahead and say start over here and run this again, so see, so this has returned a date object. So when you use this function date from date and time, it is going to return the date object. The same way when you use date and time over here like this, it is going to return a date and time object. And if you are only going to use time, it is going to return a time object. accordingly. We will see that further when we deep dive into each module one by one. So let's go to our next module and do a deep dive in date time module, which is a primary tool for working with dates and time. It provides several classes for different needs. That is datetime, which represents a combined date and time, like I showed you. Then, when you have to do work only with dates, you will do datetime.date, which represents that just we are going to use a date without time, right? Then the third one is going to datetime.time, which represents a time independent of date and date and time time delta. That is the differences that we are going to use. So this is how you can use it in multiple ways. So the last one I didn't show you in the example. Let me try to elaborate that more. So date and time dot time delta, what it does is it represents a duration or the difference between two dates or times. So when you are using this module, you typically import classes directly to simplify your code. It's important to note that date and time objects are immutable, meaning once created, they cannot be modified. Instead, operation return new objects whenever you perform the operations onto by using them. So while the module supports time zone aware date and time objects, this requires additional steps which we will cover later in our slides. So let's understand all these main classes one by one with one example each. So if I go over here and run this, so in this one example, we are covering everything. So first, we are using date. So that's why we have imported date from date and time. Okay. Then in the next one, we are using date and time. So that's why we are imported date and time from date and time module. Third, we have imported time. So I have imported time over here and then time delta. So these are the same three ones that we saw over here. So our first example is going to be only date, that is this one, that is just date, year, month and day. So over here, what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead, when I go ahead and run this, it is going to return me the date, that is year, month and date. Same format, year, month and date. That is how you can use the date to get the today's date. Then next, date and time. So it is going to give you the current date along with the time. So when we go ahead and run it, you will see it has given the date along with time, which is hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds. That is how it is going to give you its current date and time. Then if you want, you can also go ahead and define your custom time. For doing that, what you can do is, so right now I have defined my custom time, that is 2:30 p.m. That is the reason I have given over here meeting time is equal to time. So it is going to return me an object which is a time object, which represent that this is the time, that is 14 hours. It is 2:30 00. So as it is 14, that means it is right now in 24 hours clock. That's why it has returned 14:30. So this is the time of the day. Now in last, what we are doing is we are using time delta. So what time delta is returning to us is, it's saying 2 weeks time delta days is equal to 14. So it is giving us the duration of 2 weeks. So this creates a time difference of duration of 14 days over here. So the duration of 14 days, so you can add, subtract or use time delta to perform some arithmetic operations. So maybe this example is not much elaborative over here, but don't worry, I have one section of date and time arithmetic. Over here I will show you the power of time delta, where we will see that how you can subtract, how you can add 3 days onto the existing date. For example, suppose if today is Monday, if I say time delta plus 3, it is going to go ahead and give you the output for 3 days ahead of today's current date and time. So that is how you can use time delta. So these are some date and time modules that we would be working going forward, and this is how you can import it by using from date and time, and then whichever module is going to be used from your end, just import them as per your requirements. Now let's talk about how to get the current date and time. So when you want to get the current date and time, that is going to be the month, year, month, date, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, then you use date and time now. This is going to give you the current local date and time. Like, okay, and when you say date and time today, it is going to give the similar one to you. When you say date and time dot UTC now, it is going to give you the UTC date and time. That means it is going to give you the date and time along with the time zone inside it. And when you say date today, it is only going to go ahead and give you the date. So one of the most common operation with dates and times is getting the current moment that we are going that you use in day-to-day activities, and the date and time module provides several methods for this purpose. So those several methods that we just saw are the ones that we use in our daily programming needs. Now, if we see that in terms of example, so once we get date and time, we can also do some manipulation onto it by accessing individual components. So over here, if I go ahead and run this current date and time, see, it has given me the entire current date and time. So once we get this returned as an object, then what we can do, we can access individual elements from components from it. So when I go ahead and run it over here, so first from current date and time, that is this object that has been returned. First, I asked that I just want the year. It has just picked the year and it has printed it over here, right? Then I said that what is the current month. When I set the current month, it will automatically pick the month and it is going to give you that in return. So then I asked for day, it has given the day over here, that is 7th. Then I asked for hours, what is the current hour from this current object that has been returned, it was 20. Similarly, minutes was 50 and seconds was 55. So this is how, once you get the current date and time object that is been returned from date and time dot now, you can also use it individually as a component. Now let's move ahead. So now let's talk about creating date and time objects. So beyond getting current date and time, you will often need to create date and time objects with specific values that you want. And the date and time module provides constructors for each class that accept individual components. So for date and time objects, you need to provide at least the year, month, and the day. And the time components should be hours, minutes, seconds, and microseconds. But these are optional, and you can also default them to 0 if you want to get them omitted. Similarly, you can create date objects with just year, month, and day, and time objects with just hour, minute, seconds, and milliseconds. So all the values must be within the valid range. For example, it must be between 1 to 12 months, because those are valid. The same way you have to do it with the dates. You have to only define the date which is the valid one. And when you use datetime.combine method, what it offers is, it offers an alternate approach which is going to allow you to combine two separate dates and time objects into a single datetime object. What does we mean by that? So when you're going to use datetime.combine in that way, suppose when I say date dot now, it is going to give me the date. And when I say date and time dot now, it is going to give me the date and time. So, oh, sorry, if I take date dot now, it is going to give me the date. If I give a time dot now, it is going to give me the time. Now we have two different objects, and if we want to combine both of them and bring together the entire version of date and time, it can be done by using datetime.combine. So this is useful when you already have date and time components from different sources. So in machine learning applications, you might create specific datetime objects when generating features, filtering data sets by date ranges, or setting up time-based experiment configuration. So if we go in the example over here, so let's see how you can create the date and time objects. So right now we are creating our own date. So how you create your own date? So you create your own date by defining these three components, that is year, month, and date. This is how you have created a specific date based on your requirement. So when I say this is the date, it will say, okay, this is the Independence Day, because we have provided them the specific date. So this is how you provide a specific date. Now, when you want to provide a specific time, how you provide them? It should be in the format of hours, minutes, seconds. So when you provide in this way, then and only then it is going to go ahead and create the object accordingly. So over here, you would have noticed that after I created the object, what has been returned? So it has returned a date object. That's why I have printed the type over here, so that you guys know that when you are running this function and providing this arguments, this is going ahead and converting it into a date object, and it has been returned to the variable under which you are storing it. So, and that variable is going to be of class date because it is returning only the date. Second time when I run it, it has only returned the time because you have used time method over here to set your custom time. Now, if you want to create specific date and time of your own together, one method of doing that is the way you did, you defined year, month, and date, then hours, minutes, and seconds separately. We will combine it. So over here, what we are doing is we are giving year, month, date, hours, and minutes. Okay. So once you do that, and when I go ahead and run this, it is returned. See, so whatever you have given, it is going to take that value. And if you have not given this, it is going to go ahead and make it at 00. So if the values are given in the time, it will keep it as you have defined, otherwise it is going to make it as 00. That's why I have not given the value of seconds, so that you understand that when you don't define the seconds over here, by default it will be 0. So that is one thing. And over here now you have seen that two different objects were there, date object, time object. But over here when I use date and time, I have combined the two objects, and over here I have the entire date and time together. Now this is one approach of doing it by using date and time method. But the another approach of doing is suppose if you in your program there might be a situation where you create your date object separately as well as you create your time object separately, and if you want to combine them and make them a date and time object, so in that way you can do it over here like this. So there is an inbuilt method for doing that, that is date and time dot combined. So over here what I have done, both the objects that I had created, that is a meeting date and meeting time, I have gone ahead and combined it, and when I go ahead and run it, it is going to go ahead and give you the date and time object returned, and this is the date and time which has been concatenated together like we are doing date and time method. Now let's see what's next. So next we are going to talk about date and time arithmetic operations. So how we can perform arithmetic operation, because it is a powerful feature of date and time module, allowing you to perform calculations with dates and time. And the time delta class represents a duration or difference between two date and time objects. So in the start, I told you that I will show you a lot of examples with time delta. So this is the time when I'm going to show you that. So you can create a time delta by specifying various time unit like days, seconds, microseconds, milliseconds, minutes, hours, or weeks. With time deltas, you can add or subtract duration from dates and date and times to find future or past dates. Subtract two dates or date and times to find the duration between them, or multiply divide deltas by number for complex calculation. So these operations are particularly useful in time series analysis and feature engineering that we would be doing later. So for example, suppose if you might want to calculate how many days have been passed since a customer's last purchase has been made. So you find all the data points within a specific time window, or you compute rolling averages over time periods. So that is how you work it in machine learning world when you are working. So let's understand how time delta works with a lot of examples. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create our date and time object, which is date and time now. It is going to give us the current date and time. So once we have the current date and time, it has been saved to our variable that is now, which I'm going to go ahead and use further. First, in first example, what I'm doing is, so the time delta class over here, what it is doing is, it is going to add 3 days ahead of current date and time. So this is the current date and time. If I go ahead and run this, you will see today it is 7th of July. It should make it as 10th of July, and it has. So if you see from 7th, it has become 10th. So it has pushed the current date and time, by 3 days ahead. So that is the beauty of using time delta. So I said that my current date and time is this, and time delta days is equal to 3. So it has added 3 days to my current date and time. Now, if I want to subtract 1 week from current date and time, so for that again you can use time delta, and you can say weeks is equal to 1. When I go ahead and run this, you will see that 1 week, that is 7 days, has been removed. So the current date is 7, and if you remove 7 days, that is 1 week, it is going to give 30. And instead of from July, it has become June because it was a month of 30, not 31. So that is how the time calculation has been done by time delta. Okay, the subtraction. Now, in the third example, what we are doing is we are going to perform the difference between the date. So we are going to we are going to provide a start date, then we are going to provide an end date, and then we are going to subtract both of them so that we understand that what is the difference between difference in days between the start date and the end date. So when I go ahead and run it, so the start date I have given 1st of January 2023 and end date is 31st of December 2023. And when we went ahead and ran this, so you can see this was the start, this was the end, and this is the difference of days between the start date and end date. So that is how you can use the difference. You can use arithmetic operation to create to get the difference of days between two dates that you have. Now, multiplying a time delta. So over here, what we are going to do is uh, using time delta, you can also perform multiplication for a specific time only. So what over here we have done, so we have said that preparation time is equal to time delta r is equal to 2. By default, it is going to make the preparation time as 2 hours because we have given the delta of 2. So first it is going to go ahead and print 2 hours. Then I said team size equal to 3. Then total person hours, that is total team working hours, is going to be preparation time, that is 2 into team size, that is 3. So that is how the delta that has been returned, you are multiplying them with the team size and you are getting the total hours which is going to be consumed by all the person to perform the work. So from 2 hours it has become 6 hours. So that is how you can perform date and time arithmetic operations in Python. Now, we are going to talk about very important topic, which is formatting date and times. So, formatting date and times as string is essential for displaying them to users or saving them in specific format. So the strftime method, okay, so the strftime method, which stands for string format time, converts the date and time object to string using the format codes. This code start with the percentage sign, as you can see, which represents different components of date and time. So for example, %y represent the 4-digit year, %m represents the 2-digit of month, %date it represents the 2-digit of day, and so on. So by combining this code with other characters, you can create various date and time format based on your requirement. This is particularly useful when you're generating reports, creating visualization with properly formatted access labels, or preparing data for export. And the ability to customize date and time representation helps you present temporal data in the most appropriate way for specific audience or application. So let's see how we can go ahead and use this format for formatting our dates to string. So what I will do, I will keep on switching between this table of hours and our examples so that you understand that how we have used it everywhere. So first example. So in first example, what we are going to do is we are first going to get our current date and time. So when I said date and time dot now, it has returned me a date and time object, which is this with the value of this. Now, first formatting that I'm going to do is I am going to do a basic ISO formatting. So in this, what I have done, so right now this is a date and time object, right? And we have to convert that into string. So what I have done, so I have used strftime. So it is converting the string format to sorry, it is converting the date and time format to string. So when I go ahead and run this code, so over here I have added the type, which is extra, to show you guys that this object, that is date and time object, has been converted to string object. Now when you use this and when you are mapping it with the format code over here, that is how it is going to understand. So in the first example, I have used %y, %m, and %d. So from all of this, it is not going to go ahead and give you a string of everything. It has only given the string output of what I have asked for in the terms of the format code. So my format code has asked for year, month, and date, that is Y, M, and D, which is over here. Year is a 4-digit year. Uh, Month is month as a number, that is 1 to 12. Date of the month, that is 1 to 31. So that is been returned over here. Now when you want to get the hours, minutes, and seconds, so this is how we are going to use the format code. So for hours in 24 hours format, I in 12 hours format, but right now in that example I have taken 24 hours format. 12 hours format I will take it later. Then M stands for minute, S stands for seconds. That is how we have used the format code over here, and based on which string has been returned in the second one, which is just given the hours, minutes, and seconds. Now, another readable format we will see. So over here, what I am doing is I am using %b, %d, and %y. %d you know is date, y you know is year. What is b? So b is nothing but it is the name of the month. So when you say %b, it is going to give you the name of the month. So right now when I am saying 07, it is hard to interpret which month it is. So what I said, %b. So it has returned me July. So it checked the month, and then it has given me the formatted string for that, which is July. Then for date, it has given the date, and for year, it has given the year to me as requested by me. Now over here you will see that inside this what I did is I have just given percent, and then I have also segregated them by dash. That is why you are seeing it at 225-07. If I go ahead and remove this, see it has become, there is no dash in between, so that is not by default. This is how you are formatting your string, so for your visual clarity. So right now if I go ahead and run this again, so you will see that this visual clarity is better. So that's why over here when we say July 07 comma, so this is how we have defined it over here. So it is showing July 07 comma, then comes the year. Now moving to next readable format, over here I have used I. So I is going to give us the time in which format? It is going to give us the time in 12 hours format. So when I say I, it has given me 9. So previously it was giving me 21. Now that 21 has converted to 9, and I have used a new format pattern over here, which is P. What is P? P is going to tell you whether the time is AM or PM. So when you use 12 hours format, so it is by default you have to use it to understand whether it is 9 AM or 9 PM. So usually whenever we use I, we use P with that to understand if it is AM or PM. So let's move to our next example. So over here we will see a few more other format strings that we have not used, and that is A, that is weekday name. So when I go ahead and run this, so what it has fetched, that it has fetched me the day of the week. So when I used %a, it's the weekday name. For example, today is Monday when I'm recording it, that's why it has given me Monday, and the date is July 07 2025 at 9:05 p.m. So over here I have used IMP, that you all are already aware of. B also you are already aware of. So A was new that we used. Now over here what we are doing is we are using ISO 8601 format, which is going to convert our date and time into string. So this is how we are doing it, by using our format codes over here. So that is how you use your format code for your formatting, or for your formatting while you're converting the date and time into string. So let's go back to our slide and see what's next. So next we are going to parse date string. So over here what we are going to do is we are going to convert the string into date and time objects. So it is the opposite of the previous one. So when we are working with date and time data, you will often need to convert string representation back to the date and time objects. The strip, so previous method was strftime, okay, and this is strptime. So that was str format time, and this is str parse time. So you have to understand that difference. Okay, so this stands for string parse time. What it does is it does this by matching a string with the specific format pattern that we have already seen. So it uses the same format pattern as strftime that we have used, but in reverse. So instead of formatting a datetime object as a string, it is going to parse a string into a datetime object. Same formatting string, but different functionality this time, just by changing the method name. Now, this is particularly important when you're loading the data from text files, CSV files, or APIs that return dates as string. So these kinds of files are always going to return dates as string. So let's go ahead and understand this with few examples that how it works. So now, first over here you will see date string. What is this? This is a string that I am passing. 2023 03 15. It is a pure string. So when I run this, I have definitely I have purposely used type so that you guys know that this is a string object. See, this is a string object. So first it is string object, then I go ahead and parse it. So for parsing it, I am going ahead and saying strptime, where I am passing our string and the format over here. So this string is going to be read based on this format that I have defined over here, and then it is going to parse that into a date and time object. So when I parse this, I am parsing it into date and time, not only date and time. That's why it is going to give me the time also. Even though I have not specified the time formatting over here, it is going to give me 000 for others. So this is how you have parsed your string into date and time, where this is the date and time, and this is the date, and this is the time. And this string object has been converted to date and time object, as you can see over here. Now, in another example, what we are doing is we are parsing a date and time string again. So in this again, we are doing the same thing. So over here, I have just changed the string. So over here, I have given March 15, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. So in this, what I will have to do is I will have to when I'm converting it, I have to use appropriate formatting tags so that my function understands that what it is trying to parse. So right now it is March. So when I have to change March to date and time, so I have used %b. Then I have to use %d for date. Then I have to use year for year. Then I have kept at it as it is. And then over here I have given 12 hours format, and then over here month and AM and PM. If I go ahead and run this, it will go ahead and give us the format accordingly. Okay, so over here, this is the date and time format that is being provided over here. So again, the string object over here has been converted to date and time object. Now let's see ISO formatting. So over here, when I go ahead and do the ISO formatting, so this string has been converted to our date and time object based on the ISO formatting that we have mentioned with our formatting codes over here. Then the other one is over here. So this is also using str parse time, but you can also use from ISO format. So when you use from ISO format, it is also going to help you to convert the string into date and time. So it is easy compared to other ones, but this is available from 3.7 ahead of 3.7 from 3.7 ahead of it, where you don't have to use the format string. You can just say ISO date and time, and it is going to go ahead and convert that into ISO date and time. Now let's go ahead and see what's our next concept. Our next concept is time zones. So when we are working with time data across different regions or in distributed systems, handling time zone becomes crucial. By default, date and time object in Python are naive, meaning they don't contain time zone information. As we saw, it was only containing year, date, month, hours, seconds, and uh, hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. Ahead of it, we cannot see that it is having the time zone, right? So to create aware date and time objects that include time zone data, you can use the time zone class from the date and time module. It is again a part of date and time module for doing your basic UTC offsets. So for more comprehensive time zone support, the third party pytz module is recommended that I will show you. And as it includes a database of world time zones and handles complexity like daylight saving. So when you are in a US time zone, so there is a concept of daylight saving. So when the daylight saving starts, your hours has to be reduced by 1, and when it ends it has to be increased, or vice versa. So in that case, when you use pytz, it is going to handle that accordingly. But if you don't use, then you have to maintain it by yourself by doing some hard coding. So in real projects, you often need to work with user or data from multiple time zone. For example, storing logs in UTC, but showing local time to a user. So Python's Datetime module lets you handle this using time zone aware datetimes. And let's see that with few example. So the first example in this, what we are doing is, so over here we are saying datetime dot now timezone.utc. So this is going to use the now method from the datetime class. So now is a method from datetime class that we have imported. So this is from datetime, we have imported datetime class, and now it is the method. Okay, and with UTC timezone dot with timezone dot UTC. So this gives me the current date and time, but it is going to include it in UTC. When I go ahead and run it, you will understand it. So this is our previous date and time format. So there is no time zone mentioned over here, but when I run this, you will understand. See, at the end, the time zone has been mentioned. So this is UTC time zone right now. So when it is going to change, when we are going to change the time zone, suppose when we make it as EST, it is going to be -5. Sorry, it is going to be +5. So this 00 will change to 05. For some, it will change to 03. For some, it will be minus. For some, it will be plus. So that is how the UTC time zone works. Now, let's see our second example. So in second example, we are not using the pytz class. So what we are doing is we are just using the time zone class, which comes with the date and time module. And over here, I am using the time delta that we have used before. So in that, what I'm doing is, this is my current date and time. And by using time delta, what I'm saying is, go ahead and delete, reduce the hours by 5, so that my UTC, when you reduce UTC hours by 5, it will become EST. Okay, so we are doing it manually. We are so it is not going to happen automatically that it will, we will say make it as EST, so it will go ahead and manipulate the time for us. No. So what we are doing is, current time zone UTC, we will go ahead and -5 hours, so it will become EST, and that object will be returned to EST. Once it has been returned to EST, then what we are doing is, then we are using UTC underscore now dot AST time zone EST, and this is going to use the uh, as time zone method to convert your UTC time date and time to EST, and this keeps the date moment in time and just in a different time zone. So if I go ahead and run this, so what it has does is, it has just, so the first one has changed, has reduced the time. So over here you will see it was 1, right? It has reduced it by 5. And the second one that we have run, what it has done, it has changed the time zone from UTC to EST. So that is how you use time zone. Now we will do this with pytz. So in this case, what's happening? So when you are going to change it to EST, so you have to manage the date and time. It is not going to do it explicitly for you. But when you're using pytz, it is smart enough to handle the time zone, the daylight saving differences. So in third, what we are going to do is, over here I am not going to perform any offset that I have done above. Okay, so uh, so this class is fine for UTC offset, but in real time zones having daylight saving rules, this library, that is pytz, that you have to install by saying pip install pytz. It is going to give you the official names of the time zones. So every time zone is having some official name, that is US specific, then US, if it is India, it would be India Delhi. So based on the city also, time zones changes, right? So this, when you install pytz, it is going to give you the list of all the defined time zones which is globally available, and then you can use it accordingly to manipulate your time. So right now I have manipulated my current date and time directly into US specific time zone by mentioning pytz time zone, and I have given the specific time zone that I am looking for. And then over here I have not done the offset of minusing the time it has handled it by itself, and I have just gone ahead and said that this is the time zone. You have to set the UTC time to Pacific. So this one has changed the UTC, that is 00 to 07, that is Pacific time zone. Now, the last one, you can also create a new date and time with a time zone built-in functionality, where we are going to use tz info is equal to Pacific, the same that we used before. So this means that March 15, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. in Pacific time zone, if I read this arguments that I have passed properly, and the local time dot AST timezone dot UTC, it is going to convert it to UTC, so you can always store or compare your timestamps in a consistent way. And the IME zone handling ensures that temporal data is correctly interpreted regardless of whether it was collected or it was being analyzed. So when I go ahead and run this, so this is my local time. Okay, how I have calculated my local time? By using this. So this is my Pacific local time. So Pacific local time right now is 07:53. So this is what we have set over here. Now then I have gone ahead and said that I have printed the local time. So instead of getting the time by default by using this function, that is current UTC, we have actually defined our own time by saying that this is the time you have to consider that right now is available in Pacific. So I have defined my custom time, and then over here you can see the local time in UTC. So whatever custom time that I have defined, that is 15th of March 2023, which is in past, right? So I over here I have defined PST. Okay, it gave me the PST local time based on what I have defined, that is the date and time. Now if I want to understand at that Pacific time what was the UTC time, so I can do that also by using EST time zone over here. So this has given me the UTC time for that custom time that I have created over here for the local time. So that is how you can use. A bit complex, but it will be helpful for you if you go ahead and run this example by yourself. Let's see what's next. So next is the time module. So while the date and time module provides high-level objects for working with date and times, the time module offers more low-level functions focused on time measurements and system interaction. So the time.time function returns the current time as the number of seconds since the epoch, which is January 1, 1917 at 00 UTC, which is a common reference point in computing. This is useful for generating timestamps, measuring performance, or create unique identifiers. The time.sleep function pauses execution for a specific number of seconds, which is valuable for creating delays, implementing timeouts, or setting execution intervals. In machine learning application, you might use time functions to measure model training duration, implement early stopping without timeouts, create progress indicators during long running operations, or pace API requests to external services. So let's go ahead and understand how useful the time module is with few examples. So in our first example, what we are doing is we are saying time.time. So it returns the current time as the number of seconds since the epoch. So the current time that it's going to return, it is since January 1, 1970. So this is the time from then till now. Now what I'm going ahead and doing over here is, if I go ahead and run this, so this is the start time right now. Okay, so in this so when I say use time.time, it is going to get me the current time before some code is running. So right now I am going to go ahead and run some code. So it has given me this time. Okay, from the time of epoch till now, this is the time it has came with. Now I will go ahead and run the program to show you how we can actually use it to get the difference between the start time and end time of running a program. So this is what our program has started with. This is the start time, and when I go ahead and run this, so this loop is going to run, and the output is this loop running has taken 48.8914 seconds, which also includes my 2-3 lines that I was explaining that this is going to give us the output. So consider that as a total amount of time that it took for execution of the program. So this is how you can find the difference in seconds based on the start time and end time. And the last function that we are going to talk about in time is sometimes you know that your program is going to take some time to complete, and many a times if it is getting delayed too much, the other dependent program goes ahead and terminate, giving the error that the uh, previous program has not given the output. So in that case you can perform some delay where you know that it will take some time to perform that operation, then and only then it is going to go ahead and come back to the next process. So this is how you can do it. So over here I said that sleep for 2 seconds, it slept for 2 seconds, and then it said that okay, it's done. That is how you can use time.sleep. Don't worry, I am going to show you a practical example for this. So now let's talk about the practical application countdown timer. So a countdown timer is a practical application for Python's time module, demonstrating how you can create delays and display real-time updates. So the basic approach is to use a loop with a time.sleep that I showed you, which is going to wait for specific intervals, typically 1 second, while updating a display of the remaining time. So if I go ahead and show you this example, so there are two examples. So in first example, what I have done, so over here it say I am running the counter, that is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First I will run it, then I will explain you what the code is doing. Okay, see, so it counted each and every seconds, as you see, from 5 to 1. So what I did in code is, so first I have given seconds as parameter, which I have passed as argument. So I have said I have to do it for 5 seconds, the countdown timer. So it starts over here. Then this countdown timer goes, this is my total on which my iteration will be performed, and it will be starting from 0, and -1 means in the opposite direction it will go. So it will start from 5 to 0. So that is how it has been working, and you get the timer. That is how you can use sleep over here. So every time this loop performs, it waits for 1 second so that it really runs for 5 seconds. So right now I am running it again. See, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why it is so natural? Because I have given time.sleep. It is actually, once it enters the loop for each iteration, it is waiting for 1 second. That gives you the real logic of countdown timer. Now in the second one, what I have done, this is a bigger one. Maybe if I run it, first I will run it, then I will start speaking. So over here I have given the countdown timer where I have the minute as well as second. So this is my minute as well as second. So over here I am passing two arguments. This is parameters. This is minutes, then seconds, that is 1, 0. That's why my timer is going to run now for 1 minute. Then next I go ahead and perform the total seconds is supposed to be 60 seconds. Okay, then I run my loop where my total seconds is over here. Then I am going to perform the operation based on which it is going to run my counter, and while this operation is been performed, time.sleep is again going to wait for every seconds, so that you get that natural feeling of countdown timer. It will sleep for 1 second, then and only then it will iterate again in the next loop, and every time it iterates in a loop, the total seconds that has been provided. So suppose if I say total seconds over here is 1 minute, so it is going to be 1 minute into 60 plus seconds. So 1 minute, suppose if I say 2 minutes, so it is going to be 2 into 60, it is going to be 120. Then the counter timer will start from 120 and it will go in the opposite direction, the same way we did for the previous one. So that is how you can use this in real world. Now let's see our last few examples. I know it has been a long tutorial, but examples make you feel more confident. So over here we are going to see 4 to 5 more examples. So how you are going to apply the date differences. So in first example, what we are doing is, first we create two date objects, start date and end date. I will first go ahead and run it. Okay, so start date and end date, as you can see over here, we create two objects, start date, end date. Then we find a difference by doing end date minus start date dot days, because we need the difference in days, and that is how you get the output as 73. This is how you use it, that we have seen before. But now let's see how we can put that in real-time implementation. So here the birth date is the date object for someone's birthday. So this is someone's birthday that I have defined over here as a birth date, and I have taken another variable where I am storing the today's date. Once I have both of them, then what I do is uh, so over here, if you see, when we are going to calculate the age, so where is birth dot, yeah, so first we are saying today is equal to date dot today, which is going to give us the today's date. Then we are saying today dot year over here. So what today dot year is going to do is today dot year minus birthday dot year gets the difference in years of both of them, that is birth and today. So it is going to give us the difference of years. Okay, but we also have to check whether the birth date has been passed or not. So for to do that, what we are doing is today dot month comma today dot date day is less than birth date dot month birth date dot day. So this part returns true, which is 1 if today is before the birth date. So if it's that, you subtract 1, and if you haven't, then it's not your birthday yet, right? So this simple clear calculation that you go ahead and do, which is going to go ahead and give you the exact difference of age. Now another example over here is to calculate a difference with hours and minutes. So next, over here we create two objects for the same date but with different times. So for example, when someone starts and finishes the work, and when you subtract one time date and time from another, you get a time delta again, but this time it includes hours and minutes too. So when I say this minus this, we are getting a time delta in time difference, right? But it is going to be with hours and difference too. So if I go ahead and run this, this is how it is giving you the difference of time in a time delta, that is 8 hours and 30 minutes. So that is how you can use this in your real-time implementation. So thanks everyone for your time and participation. I encourage you to experiment with the concepts we discussed today. If you have any questions or thought, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, programming skills improve with practice, so try to apply these concepts in different contexts to solidify your understanding. Join our WhatsApp community, subscribe to this AIML YouTube channel, and sign up for my Tech Inside Neuron newsletter. All the links are displayed on the screen above, as well as I'm going to go ahead and put that in the description below. So see you in the next video. Take care and bye for now.